Thank you.
My question is kind of piggybacking on that, and I think it overlaps a little bit, so maybe you could focus on one or two. What training or life experience do you have that would be beneficial if you were appointed to serve on the Human Rights Commission?
While I was in Hennepin County, we developed what was called Project Diversity, which looked at diversity issues both from an employee point of view and also from the community. I was the first vice chair of that committee. I eventually became chair. I was on that committee for, I think, 14 or 15 years from its inception. I chaired two subcommittees. One was on GBLT, or Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender Questioning Committee, or Cultural Events Committee. And in the last couple of years, at my behest, we formed the Religious Diversity Committee. And we did a lot of education. The various committees that were formed did education and cultural events for our employees. And so I have a wealth, I think, of knowledge on diversity. Personally, I feel diversity is very important. If we're gonna, our country is diverse, and in order to understand one another, we need to learn about each other so that we are not having yelling matches, shouting matches, bigotry, etc. And I'm also a member of a minority community in this country, so I know kind of what it feels like to be a minority. And I just want people to respect me, and I'll respect you. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me, but at least just be respectful to one another.
Thank you.
What do you think would be the major challenges in reestablishing the Human Rights Commission in Maplewood?
I guess just in reestablishing anything, it's kind of difficult. I mean, just basic, getting things up and going and figuring out how it's going to run. I don't know if there's, major opposition to this commission being formed. And I'm not sure why it was disbanded in 2005, 2006, unless it was for budget cut reasons. I really don't know the history of the commission prior to this being redeveloped. I guess I don't think there'd be a whole lot of uproar over it unless the commission makes decisions that are controversial. And I think you have to, listen to what people are saying and try to work with people and not be at loggerheads with them,
As a commissioner, you could be involved in facilitating issues that may arise between individuals and/or businesses in the community regarding housing, employment, public accommodations, and/or services. What experiences and skills qualify you to perform this task?
I did live in St. Paul for a number of years, and I was on the St. Paul District Planning Council number 6, which was the North End. We had many heated discussions about zoning or unpopular people or organizations trying to move into a neighborhood. And you have to really listen to everybody and be calm, cool, and collected, and try to keep a civil, calming atmosphere. Not everyone's going to walk away feeling happy with whatever the body decides. But I've done a number of those kind of meetings where people are, really upset about something and think that you're going to ride roughshod over them. Also, just as a social worker, I've had to mediate with people, people that disagree, about an outcome of, a child custody issue or what they might think is best for their child or adult child who is disabled. And so, I try to mediate. I mean, that's kind of what social workers do, is mediate.
Thank you.
My turn. This is obviously meshed with the other questions, but I would like you to broaden a little bit the use of your own background. Based on your life experience and your understanding of the mission of this commission, if you had the opportunity to set one goal or major program for this commission, what would it be?
I think the one thing I've always wanted is that people just respect one another. So that, to me, would be a really big outcome if people could just listen to each other and respect each other. Not necessarily agree all the time, but just, say, okay, I'm coming from a different place, and I can walk away and let you believe whatever you want. I mean, that to me would be the perfect world. I know that people don't act like that most of the time, or some of the time they don't act that way. But that to me has always been a goal, that we would accept one another and be respected.
Thank you.
That's the end of the formal questions. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask us?
I guess I understand that the committee is going to meet, or the commission's going to meet once a month. When do you think the commission would meet? Do you have any idea at this point?
Like the day?
Yeah, date, time.
Were we talking Wednesday?
Or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday, and usually 7 p.m.
Okay.
And we won't fit all our interviews in today for all the applicants, and so in 2 weeks we'll be finishing up the interviews, and then in that 2 to 3 week zone from now you would be notified as to the results of that. And so then we would plan on having the first meeting at the beginning of next year. Jump right into the new year.
Okay. And this is an advisory commission to the city council, pretty much?
That's correct. And so you were talking about, the commission maybe making some decisions that people might view controversial, right? And indeed, you can have recommendations that would be controversial. That happens fairly frequently from our commissions, even controversial to us. And so, but the final rock rests here. Yeah, so it will.
So
you can
we
always,
can really set the controversy.
Right, you can blame us at any time.
Or the community can blame you rather than the commission, is that right?
That's correct, right. And so I just want to make sure, so you have retired now from Hennepin County?
Yes, I'm retired.
And did you say you were there for 30 years?
Yeah, almost 30 years.
And
I've been a
so-
social worker since 1972.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm enjoying retirement.
Any
Don't
other
rub it in.
questions, council?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
So our next applicant will be Julie Moore. If you want to look over her and then do your ranking for the 3 that we have so far, which is already getting more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Hello,
And you are Ms. Moore.
Julie Moore, right.
Julie, nice to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for, one, applying for the commission, but two, taking time out of your afternoon to come and be interviewed.
You're welcome.
We have 5 questions that we're asking of each applicant.
Okay.
Normally, those 5 questions would be asked by the 5 council members, but Mr. Nephew is sitting out the interviews because he has a close relative who's also applying.
Okay.
And so he felt it would err on the side of good judgment and not participate. But the 5th question will be asked by Mr. Antonin, but just the 4 council members will be doing the voting on the applicants.
Okay, I see.
We have 15 minutes plus a couple minutes, because that last interview went pretty quick
Okay.
for your interview. And when we get to the end of the 5 questions, if you have any kind of questions you want to ask us, or there might be some follow-ups that we have to just flush out some things that you've told us,
All right.
we'll deal with it that
Okay,
way.
very good.
All right. So the first question is by Mr. Antonin.
Okay.
Thank you. Please explain any background and/or experience that you may have had in any of the following areas: public housing, civil rights, veterans issues, education, employment, or social work.
I would say employment is probably the only area that I have. That was one of the options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I haven't dealt with the others at all. The employment, I guess in my job currently, I work for a trade association, and we're really an advocate for the commercial construction, mostly building and highway. And because we're having so many difficulties with that industry right now, that we have become advocates in all areas, from negotiating contracts to working up at the legislature to try to get some money available for construction projects and different terms of loans, making the bank easier to offer the credit available for these large construction projects.
All right, thank you.
And I got a little wave from our technician back there, so if you want to make sure you're speaking into the mic, because he was
Oh.
having a difficult time hearing
Do I
you.
need to?
Nope, you're okay. You're okay.
All right.
My question is, what 1 or 2 examples, training or life experiences, do you have that would be beneficial if you were appointed to serve on the Human Rights Commission? A couple of examples.
You know, I think the work that I've done for years at our church, we've just done an awful lot of social justice and outreach, and personally I've been very immersed in what our legislators are doing, and always try to voice my opinion. And I think with the social justice, that was very active in our church for years. Right now, it's not so active just because of leadership issues, but just always making sure that you get your opinions for those that need it, especially social justice issues, which this deals with. Just get them to the legislator, because a lot of times if they don't have the backing of people in their district, they can't act on it, or if they don't know the importance that people are feeling about it. Training, I think, I've gone to workshops with that, and I've done it, and it's been not necessarily through the church, but as a group with the social justice. And I shouldn't say through the church, it's not through our parish, but it is through the church as a whole. I really haven't had any other formal training in that area.
Yeah, and it was the life experience.